All right, today we're going to continue with our Unit 1 for ACT Prep, Pre-Algebra topics, and today we're talking about decimals. All right, so for decimals, we use place values to write decimals. Look at the place value chart below. So here's our decimal. You know, in front, we talked about this the other day. There's your ones place, your tens, your hundreds, your thousands. After the decimal, you don't start with the ones again. You start with tenths, and then you go to hundredths, and then thousandths. And notice it ends in the THS's. Okay? So it's tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, and 100,000ths. Okay, so if I read this number, it would be 6,512 and 38,749 hundred-thousandths. The 6 is in the thousands DS place, so the value of that digit 6 would be 6,000. The 7 is in the thousandths position, so the value of the digit 7 is 7,000ths. Okay? Comparing decimals. To compare decimals, you do it the same way you compare whole numbers. You write the numbers, line up the decimal points and the place values, start at the greatest place value, and compare the digits until you find a place where the digits differ. So, for example, if I'm comparing these two, I line them up. 0 matches 0, 3 matches 3, 4 matches 4, then you have a 2 and a 1. Since 2 is bigger than 1, then this number is bigger than the second number. So we would put the alligator mouth pointing to the bigger number. Alright, if I compare these two numbers, I line them up. The 3's match, the 8's match, the 4's match. And here you've got a 1 and a 2. 2 is bigger, so the 384.2100 is bigger than the 384.1806. So we make the alligator, again, eat the bigger number. Okay, for between, same as when we did with whole numbers, use the greater than and less than symbols to show that decimals are between other decimals. So, for example, this decimal, 0.2860, is between 0.2894 and 0.2843. This is the smallest, this is the mid, and this is the high. If you go in order from, sorry, they went the other way. This is the highest, this is the mid, and this is the smallest, my bad. And if you do that, if you go high, mid, then smallest, then again, you want your alligators to be eating your bigger numbers. This number's bigger than this number, and this number's bigger than that number. You can go the other way, which is the way I usually do it. If you line them up where you put the smallest, and then the mid, and then the high, this is what I consider normal, is them pointing to the left. Not equal to, I shouldn't put that under there. Okay? Alright, but it's between those two numbers. Alright, so rounding decimals, same thing. Locate the place you're rounding to, look at the digit to the right. If the digit is less than 5, don't round down, you leave it alone. If the digit is 5 or greater, you round up. So this one wants me to round this number to the thousandth place. So you go tenths, hundredths, thousandths, that's the 6. So if I draw a line right there, that 3 is not bigger than 5, so it is not going to, you don't round it down, you're going to leave it a 6. So these all stay the same, and everything after turns to zeros. Notice when they write it, they don't actually put that other 0 on there. Okay? You can, but again, if it's behind a decimal at the very end, you don't typically leave them on there. Alright, so if I take the same number, 19.0463, and I round it to the hundredths place, that's the 4. So the 6 is going to bump that 4 up to a 5, and these will turn to zeros. But again, they don't write those two zeros, but you could. Okay, to the tenths place, that's the 0. The 4 is not going to round it up, so it's going to stay 19.0. Now you're going to ask, why didn't they just write 19? Because they actually said rounded to the nearest tenths place means your answer has to show a tenths place. If it's a 0, then it's a 0, but you have to write it. Okay, to the ones place, that's the 9. The 0 isn't going to do anything to it, so that would round to 19. To the tens place, that would be the 1. The 9 is going to bump that up, make that a 2, make that a 0, 0.0000, and again, they just round it to the 20. Alright, so you try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got Andy. Okay, the following shows a list of people and their times for a 100-meter dash. Who had the fastest time? Fastest means the smallest number, because if it's the smallest number, they finish the fastest. So they're all 11s. You got a 6, a 1, a 1, a 2, and a 2. So it's between these two. And then you have a 5 and a 6. So the smaller one is 5, so that would make Andy the fastest. Alright, so we're going to write less than or greater than in the blanks. You have a tie at 0. This is a 3, that's a 2. 3 is bigger than 2, so eat the big number. 1.91 and 9.1, well, that's 1 something, and that decimals, think of money. This is like $1 something, this is like $9 and something. Obviously, $9 is bigger. Okay, these are both like 20 bucks. There's 3 matches. There's a 4, that's a 5. 5 is bigger. So we go that way. We've got $387 compared to $38. Obviously, 387 is bigger. Again, here you have 408 something and 389. Okay, here you got a tie at 0, you got a tie at 7, you got a tie at 3. 9 is bigger than 8, so we go that way. This one, we got to look and see, are they going little to big or big to little? Well, this would be 0.40. So they all match at 4. This is a 3. That's a 0. So this is the smallest. And then this is 432, where this is only 430. So this is the biggest. This is the mid. This is the small. So if you go from little to big, your arrows will always point left. The next one, they're going, let's check it out, 0.56, they're all 0.56, 0.56, 0.56. 8 is smaller than 9, so again, this is the little, or the smallest. Then we got the biggest, the mid, and then we have the biggest. So small to big, we always want the alligator eating the bigger numbers. So again, they point that way. Alright. Alright, so this one, they want us to write the value of each digit in that numeral, in that number. Alright, so the 1 would be right there, which is in, let's see, that would be, 6 would be in the thousands, so 1 would be in the 10,000s place, so this would be worth 10,000. The 2 is in the 10th hundredths place, so this would be 2 hundredths, THS, it's behind the decimal. The 3 is right there, which is in the tens place, so that would be worth 30. The 4 is in the hundredths place, so that would be worth 400. The 5 is in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, so this would be 5 10,000ths, THS. The 6 is in the thousandths place, so that would be worth 6,000. The 7 is in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000, so that would be 700,000 THS. Okay, the 8 is in the tens, hundredths, thousandths, so that would just be worth 8,000 THS. The 9 is in the ones place, so that would just be worth 9. The 0 is in the tenths place, so that would be 0 tenths. Okay. Alright, again, we got to put these in order and compare them. You can go big to small or small to big. I like going small to big. So, we have 18.097 would be the smallest. Then 0.5 and 0.6. 0.5 would be the next biggest. And 18.61, the mid, and 18.61 would be the biggest. And then we would make them go this way because you will always want to eat the bigger number. So on this one, again, I'm going to go small to big. We got 2 in the 402s, 0.51, 51, 6, and 9. 6 is smaller, so I'm going to do 402, 0.5163, 402, 0.5191. Then you got these guys that match. You got 0.8s, 7, 9. 7 is smaller, so 403, 0.8799, and 403, 0.8917. And again, if you go small to big, then I promise your inequalities will always point left. If you go big to small, then they'll point right. Okay, so now we want to round. They want us to round to the thousandths place. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Oops, 32, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So I'm rounding to that 5. The 3 isn't going to do anything. So these all stay the same, 3245.605. And again, those would literally be zeros, but if they're after the decimal, you don't write them. Okay, 3245. To the tens place, ones, tens, that 5 is going to bump it up. So that's going to turn to a 5. These all stay the same. These all turn to zeros. But the way I write it is I just write the numbers in front, so it would be 3250. Okay, the tenths place. The tenths would be right, that 6 is in the tenths place. 0 won't do anything to it, so these all stay the same. 3245.6. These all turn to zeros, but again, after the decimal, you don't need to write them. Okay, the 10,000ths place, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. Oops, I put a decimal in the wrong spot. My bad. 3245.60537. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. That 7 is going to bump it up to a 4. And the rest come down, and that turns to a 0. But all I would write is 2345.6054. Okay, 13. Oh, I'm going out of order. Sorry. The thousands place, DS. 3,245.60537. There's the thousands place. The 2 is not going to bump it up, so that stays a 3. These all turn to zeros, but we would only write 3,000. The hundredths place, THS. Tenths, hundredths place, that 5 is going to bump that up to a 1. These would turn to zeros, but I only write this much of it, so 3245.61. Okay, 17, they want me to round to the ones place. The ones place is the 5. The 6 is going to bump that up to a 6, 4, 2, 3. These would all turn to zeros. So we would have 3246. Alright, and then 19, they want the hundreds place. 1, 2, 4, 5. And ones, tens, hundreds is the 2. The 4 isn't going to do anything, so those stay the same. Those turn to zeros. And I would just write 3200. And then 20 says, what is the place value of 4 in this number? Well, that would be tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So it's in the thousandths THS position. Okay? Alright, you do this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 16. They want the sum, which means I'm adding the digits found in the tenths place, and the tenths place would be 9. And in the 10,000ths place, 10,000ths place would be tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths place would be 7. Sum means add those up. 9 plus 7 is 16. Okay, try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. And they want the one that would make the choice true. Well, if I look, if I put this way, they're saying, if you put it this way, which one of these is true? Well, is this facing the bigger number? 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, tie at 9, tie at 9. 9 is bigger than 8, so yes, that's true. The rest of them, if you check real quick, 356, tie to 7, 9 is bigger than 8, so this would be going the wrong way. 272, 8 is bigger than 1, so again, this needs to go the other way. 1 is bigger than 0, so that number is bigger. And 7 is bigger than 6, so again, that one's bigger. So the only one that's true, if you place it that way, is F. Okay, try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 6. They want the thousandths place. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths would be the 6. Okay, try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. And they want me to round this to the hundredths place, tenths, hundredths. That 4 isn't going to do anything to it, so these all stay the same. These turn to zeros, but if it's after the decimal, you don't have to write. Okay. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got D. It says, which of the following choices has the largest digit in the tenths place? Well, that's a 1. That's a 6, so he's biggest. That's a 5, so he's still biggest. That's a 9, so now he's biggest. And that's a 3. So the biggest number in the digit in the tenths place is the 9. And we are done. So I will